You could have shown up to game day with a basic 7-layer dip, but you didn't. You called an audible and swapped the sour cream layer for Philadelphia cream cheese. Now, words like creamy and delicious are flying around the room, and your dip
so good
is getting more looks than a top fantasy wideout. You don't follow a recipe, you Philly it whenever you Philly like it. Philadelphia cream cheese.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Talk about stepping up. Bang! Bang!
It's time to level up your game. Introducing the all-new ESPN app. All of ESPN, all in one place. Your home for the most live sports and the best championship moments.
The electricity is palpable.
Step up your game with no annual contract required. It's the ultimate fan experience. Level up for more on the ESPN app or at stream.espn.com. Sign up now.
This is Rob Gronkowski from Dudes on Dudes. Applebee's just cooked up the ultimate option play with their new Ultimate Trio deal. You can choose from 3 of their delicious appetizers and pair them up with 3 sauces for just $14.99. Craft your perfect trio from over 80,000 different combinations in this flavor-packed plate built for one, or to share if you're generous. You can stick with the classic pairings like boneless wings and buffalo sauce, or you can spice things up and try some unexpected pairings like dipping chicken wonton tacos in our honey Dijon mustard. It's time to head to your neighborhood Applebee's or order online today. Now that's eating good in the neighborhood.
This is your gibberish on a stick. Leader Fan Radio Network, and KFAN.com. 1 minute, 52 seconds past 3 Central Daylight Time. We welcome you back to a Thursday production of the Bumper to Bumper program on a, looks like kind of overcast Thursday afternoon here in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. I am the host of the program. I am the ringmaster of this circus. My name is Dan Barreiro, former Inkstein Wretch newspaper, the Twin Cities. Guardsy produces the show, 2-time state high school tennis champion, a man who went to not 1, 2, 3, or 4, but 5 universities and graduated from none of them. Is that right?
That's correct. So far,
you're still in the still in the race. You tell me
it's not over.
It's not over till it's over. But has enough time gone by that the credits go away? Do you have to start over, or can some of the credits still apply?
I think some of them can still apply, but probably not all of them.
I don't think you should ever give up the dream.
I haven't.
That's all I'm saying.
I haven't.
Although 3 kids, 8 jobs, that's
not
problematic.
Even I can do that math.
Stuff done, right?
We can do that math.
You are correct.
That's a tough equation to try to add, 6 credits.
Are we going the distance today, or is this the day we start at 6? End at 6?
We end at 6.
It starts already.
It starts tonight.
So tonight at 6, what takes over? Vikings Uncensored with
Joe Sensor.
With Joe Sensor.
The Chris Carter Show with Michelle Tafoya. We could just go through all. I went to that at Joe Sensor's years ago.
Did you really?
When I was like 7.
Wow.
That's how into it I was. I was a Rube.
You were a Rube.
I was into the Vikings. I was into the Fan.
Right.
It's the Minnesota Vikings podcast and then Vikings Tailgate. Same Thursday lineup the last handful of years. So 30 minutes of each.
Beautiful.
So we are out at 6.
We're out at 6 today. We're out at 5 on Monday. It's all coming together for us, finally, after a long, long summer of long programs as well. We have a full show, I should say a 3-hour show today, but I think enough content to fill at least 3.5, maybe 4, maybe 4.5 hours. I mean, maybe I'm not objective, but I feel good about our mix during today's broadcast. Our only scheduled guest, and thank God he follows me on X because he'd forgotten about it, apparently. Robert Smith will join at 5:30, former Vikings running back, who now, most recent, his current job is Fox college football analyst. In fact, he was on the broadcast of my Indiana Hoosiers dominating a very plucky Old Dominion club. Old Dominion, by the way, did you know they scored on the first play from scrimmage?
I did see that, yeah.
And the crowd got a little bit anxious, but we took care of business. We're Indiana. We took care of it. We let the game come to us. We didn't panic.
It's week 1.
And it's week 1. So I'll get a Hoosier scouting report from Bob Smith. I'm sure we'll talk plenty of professional football and some things up his sleeve as well. That's 6:30. 6:30. That's 5:30. We're done at 6. And at 4:30, the inbox will be open. Dr. Dan's inbox. So hit Guardsy JG at KFAN.com. The football edition of that little bit, the inbox, I think, should be pretty fertile ground. There should be a lot of good material, but there's still plenty of time, 90 minutes before we get to that. Sean Salisbury is going to be a Thursday regular again. This week, he's got a major pre-scheduled meeting. So for this week, he is scheduled to join us at about 4 tomorrow after Carl Gerbschmidt, who is confirmed to take part in the first prediction segment of the year at 3:30. Salisbury, most weeks, when his schedule permits it, will be with us at the customary 3:30. So that's the plan tonight. I've got a couple of A-section items to get to. We did break a little bit of news earlier today, bumper-to-bumper related, that many of you who follow us on X now perhaps know. We finally discovered the identity of the Minnesota Viking who is scheduled to join us weekly. And I didn't even know he was in the mix. I'd heard several names, but I did not know this individual was in the mix at all, and they got the deal done. Adam Thielen, who they tell me went to Minnesota State Mankato.
We'll ask him.
When he went,
we'll ask him.
It was Mankato State when he went, correct? Or was it already Minnesota State
I'm
Mankato?
guessing it was probably already Minnesota State Mankato.
Detroit Lakes, pride of Detroit Lakes.
That's right,
Michigan,
the DL.
Correct? That's correct. So he's going to join us weekly. Now, it's funky because the first game is a Monday nighter, so I don't know if it's going to be Tuesday or later Tuesday, and even time is still up in the air. So as soon as I get a little bit more detail, we'll let you know. And obviously, when the Vikings play in Europe 2 straight weeks, the times might be different. But we'll attempt to lock in on a time because I had a lot of people say, well, give me the time. I want to DVR it. And I said, as soon as we get a time, we'll pass that along to you. Very pleased to get Thielen because, I think for reasons that should be obvious, he's been around forever. He may end up being a very significant acquisition for this club, especially early. And, he's connected to everybody and everything and generally has something to say.
Yes.
So that works out very well for us.
And he's one of us.
More than that's probably the most important thing of all. I mentioned off the top of the program that we are you're indeed your gibberish on a stick leader. I'll admit some of that might be I do have some leftover disappointment that we're still not at the Great Minnesota Get-Together. It's in the rearview mirror, but I kind of miss it already. I'm a sentimentalist when it comes to the Minnesota State Fair, and I like the stick reference. The gibberish part is really more important, although have we ever considered a State Fair T-shirt gibberish on a stick?
I don't think that's ever come up.
It's not a bad. I mean, I think it's something that because it's the beauty of it is you're pretending to be self-deprecating to a fault.
Right. It's kind of like the fake TV sincerity.
Exactly
the
right.
Radio edition.
When you really don't mean to be self-deprecating, you don't even believe it, but you think it. You like the idea of people. Oh God, they're not afraid to make fun of themselves. So we'll take that under advisement for next year.
Send it to Nick. Get it in the hopper right now.
Who's to say?
Send him a Teams message.
You can never start too soon.
No.
Correct? The gibberish part, though, is really not related to the Great Minnesota Get-Together at all. It is related to... I got to tell you something. I've reached a point where I went from pridefully defending the ESPN debate format when everybody else was savaging it, especially in shows in which Stephen A. Smith starred, almost overnight to a person who I don't think now can literally watch any of it for more than 30 seconds.
Is that right?
And I don't know what has tripped in me. Something, I have been triggered by something. And maybe this represents a little bit of it. And in this case, I don't know what show this was on. Okay, I don't know if it was on First and 10. No, that's on Moving the Chains, is on Sirius XM NFL channel, I think, is Moving the Chains. This show, what's the show that Stephen A. is on?
First Take?
I don't know if it was First Take. I don't know if it was...
There's a show called Moving the Chains.
There's a show called Moving the Chains.
I love radio so much. We should just come up with a million different bits.
Moving the Chains.
Yeah.
Whatever show it was on, the debate panel included Stephen A. Smith, Dan Orlovsky, and Ryan Clark.
Okay.
And the debate question, I think we start with the debate question, because that in of itself is almost vomit-worthy. The debate question was, or on this occasion, I don't know when this was, yesterday or the day before, maybe it was earlier today, for all I know, I'm not sure. But the question was, is Arch Manning a generational talent?
Oh, boy.
And you think about this for a minute, and you say, well, let's see, how many college games has he started? How many is it? One?
Might be one. May have got
two?
One last year with injury.
Maybe three? I don't know. So you start with, in that business, though, that's the bit. The bit is, even if the question is preposterous, nonsensical, literally impossible to answer, you want to have the fancy headline for you. Oh, this could be a good, let me get my popcorn. It's a generational talent. When he's barely existed in a college sense, let alone what he might end up being as a professional football player, right? I don't think it went very well for him.
It didn't.
Or the Longhorns last week against Ohio State.
It didn't.
That was in Columbus. But I'm assuming that Texas isn't cutting him yet. So it may start there, but that's not the particular bit of gibberish on a stick we need to get to. And believe me, I'm not the first to have noticed it, by the way. I noticed it via, what's his name? He used to be on ESPN Late Night. It'll come to me in a minute. I can't remember his name. But he noticed it and seemed to sort of lose his mind. In fact, I think I captured it here on my print for the show. No, Trey Wingo.
Okay.
This is the comment from Ryan Clark that left Trey Wingo with nothing else to say but just mouth words. Trey Wingo. What did Ryan Clark say to elicit that response from Trey Wingo? I don't think Tom Brady, I don't think Drew Brees, I don't think Peyton Manning are generational talents. And apparently it was, well, even though we're talking about Arch Manning, I'm going to give you some other quarterbacks, I guess, in history that I didn't think are generational talents. And that's what left, I guess you could say, Trey Wingo gobsmacked. Because it's gibberish. It's meaningless. And if you want to say, well, in the larger sense, what he's talking about is, quote unquote, physical talent, who gives a bleep? The trend that quote represents is something we've talked about on this show over and over as it has leaked into other sports, certainly the NBA, where people debate. Have you seen the latest debate? John Wall is the most underrated player in the history of basketball.
He is, huh?
That's what we've been told.
I hadn't thought of that.
Do you know why? Because nobody in the history of the game over the course of their career averaged 20 and 10. 20 as much as 20 points and 10 assists together.
Okay.
And he ended up averaging 19 and 9. So these idiots get on there and go, John Stockton can't touch that. Magic Johnson can't touch that. This guy is vastly underrated. Why? His handle. Bag of tricks. See what he could do when he could do it? The ongoing fascination with whatever we want to call physical talent is corrupting and poisoning sports talk with every day that goes by more and more. Why are we obsessed with this crap? What difference does it make whether Drew Brees was a generational talent? Was he a generational quarterback? The answer is yes. Do we think that Peyton Manning was a generational quarterback? Regardless of how you want to evaluate his talent, yes. Tom Brady? I don't know. Maybe generational? Possibly.
Seems pretty good.
And if our definition, why does the definition for these stupid shows have to continually be however the analytics describe, well, it's not even analytics actually, it's just how they evaluate their arm strength or their ability to move or whatever the case may be. What difference does it make? Talent, if you're really describing it in a way that is relevant, is the package. Whatever form it comes in. It might be the cranium. It might be the brain. It might be accuracy. It might be a combination of various things that have nothing to do with, you see how far he threw the ball downfield? Have you seen how fast John Wall is getting from one baseline to the other? What I'm trying to figure out is, how did we get to this place where this is the itch that these idiots think need to be scratched over and over again? That's what I want to know. I know part of it is, well, we've got more people talking than ever. We've got more podcasts than ever. So chances are there's going to be somebody more. The percentage of idiocy is going to go up just on the basis of the pure numbers.
Gilbert Arenas,
that's a good example. Exactly it. But what are we doing? What is this entertaining to people? Because I guess the numbers would indicate it is, but maybe people are watching out of habit. I don't know. But I don't understand what you're carving out if you are, in this case, Ryan Clark, by creating these distinctions, leaving aside the fact that it's too early to have any opinion that big, that large on a college quarterback who's 12.
Do you want the answer or what I think the answer is?
Yes, I do. Let's just go to 27.
Yeah, that's fine. Why this exists and why they continue to do it. And remember, my favorite one, I think, of 2025, and I'll stumble on it a little bit. It was in, I think, the Eastern Conference Finals, where they were projecting, if the Pacers lose, what does that say about them? Or something like
mentioning that, yes.
So they couldn't even comment on what has already happened. They were going to make you project, if they lose, I think, Game 6 at home. Like, it was this whole thing, which, by the way, they ended up not because they ended up winning.
And they ended up being competitive without their best player in Game 7.
So they bring this up and then make you guess on it and then have a big opinion on what it's going to be if it happens, which to me is like 5 levels past the lunacy that even we're talking about today. But I think it's pretty obvious. The most important thing now for almost everybody is you have to get the clicks, as Flip said. You have to get the views on social media. You have to have the little 2-minute soundbite that can be replayed everywhere. And especially in ESPN, they want somebody to make their own weather and say it so then the rest of the day people can react to it. Because now I'm sure they'll go, do you agree with Ryan Clark that those 3 are not generational talents? Because then you got to get everybody else's opinion on it. So I think, long story longer, they set it up.
So even by our bit standards, it's all a bit. Are you hinting that you believe Ryan Clark deep down probably knows it's preposterous, but he's nevertheless going to say it because it does set the baseline for all of the reaction that's going to
possibly
come?
Yeah, possibly. And it's about having just the act of having the question, is Arch Manning the generational talent? They want to have those 4 answers to package the rest of the day to put everywhere else, because that does, for whatever the reason, grab people's attention. I wonder what Dan Orlovsky thinks about Arch Manning as a generational talent.
In all honesty, he looked gobsmacked by the whole thing. Like, wait a minute now, they're not.
He frequently is.
Yes, he's usually the one who doesn't play along, or maybe that's his way of playing along. Maybe that's part of the bit. Okay, the Ryan Clarks and the Stephen A's will throw out the preposterous stuff. And we'll do it knowing that we don't believe more than 2% of it.
J.J. Redick was that guy on the basketball side before he went to coaching. He'd basically go, what are we doing
and
here?
And then Orlovsky would be exactly, same thing. What are we doing? I don't know. What I'm saying is, for me, there is nothing entertaining about it. And it's unnecessary. I understand that when you're on a show like that, you got to come up with a lot of topics every day. And I'm saying that's where they're failing. They could come up with better subjects, better questions, still be successful, and make a hell of a lot more sense. Not do basically what I agree with Trey Wingo. Just mouth words. You're mouthing them to mouth them. Now, we're all in the business. All of us who are in the business are capable of dishing out gibberish every day. It's all meaningless, one could say. But I'm trying to, within that context, say some stuff seems stupider and more meaningless and more gibberishy than other things. And this is it. The whole, like I said, in the NBA world, because people are bored, because there's not much going on in the NBA, this has become the big subject. John Wall's actually better than John Stockton. Now, what that doesn't account for is winning.
Exactly.
It's all, again...
No one's ever seen John Wall play because he's never played in a meaningful game.
Exactly it. Now, is it possible that if John Wall was in the position with Karl Malone that Stockton was, he could have been pretty good? Yes, but we don't know that because he wasn't in it. So that's what gets back to too many analysts, especially ex-athletes, fascination with physical talent, how fast somebody moves. Who cares? If you can't translate that into, that fascinates me a lot less than a person who might be a lot slower, who just makes the right play over and over again and helps his team win. Same at the quarterback position. The talent issue, we need to either broaden out or stop going down this silly road. When you say Tom Brady's not a generational talent, well, then you're being cute about, well, physically, he didn't seem to have all the tools. Doesn't matter. If, with the tools he has, he implements them in a way that he is as successful as he was. And that should be more interesting to people than it is. And I actually think the average Rube is interested in that stuff. I just think I think we're being poisoned a little bit by ex-athletes who are kind of revealing themselves as not being very bright about the games they played, if that's the bit. But John Wall, if he hadn't gotten hurt, yeah, and he was unlucky, right?
A lot.
But can you also argue that, well, the John Wall's numbers are, yeah, they sound cool, but most teams he played on stunk so badly that he couldn't help but score. And he was going to occasionally get some assists because occasionally somebody's going to hit another shot. But what does it really mean? The notion that means I'm going to go out on 100,000 watt radio and say, oh, better than John Stockton. Okay. If it makes you feel better about yourself, but you're revealing the limits to your ability to evaluate performance, not just raw, God-given physical talent. It's, and I think the percentage of that is at the highest rate on ESPN that it ever has been. And God bless them. They don't need me. They may have the greatest ratings, but they have lost me. As someone who, for a while, was trying to defend it, hey, they're having fun. You got it's not that pernicious. I now, for me, it's become pernicious enough for me, or repetitive enough for me, that this is the honest to God truth. If I'm flipping, because I flip a lot, and I'm on I'm on the ESPN, 1, 2, 3, ESPN, whatever, and I go through all 4 of them in a row. Whichever one is playing or replaying, not in the zone, first take, I'm immediately leaving that channel. And I get mad at myself if I actually hear a voice say anything. That's how bad it's become. So I don't know if it was one thing that triggered it that I'm forgetting, but this is what has cemented it for me. When I see tweets like this, and I'm sure some people think Trey Wingo is just bitter because he's not on ESPN anymore. I have no idea. Maybe he is embittered. I have no idea. But he's right. And even if you say, well, it's all been words from the beginning, I like to think some words are a little better than others, or at least make a little more sense to speak out loud than others, even within the realm of healthy debate that we all think should be part of this bit.
I usually see what they're talking about on First Take and who's there as panelists. I have some panelists I like. Right. I have some that I don't.
That's fair.
By the way, Stephen A. is taking some hits with his panelists, with Shannon Sharp, with Gilbert Arenas.
That's true.
With one of the Morris twins. Yeah. I mean, they've all been in various, losing J.J. Redick, right? Because I thought he was a good contributor. I always kind of give it a chance to see exactly what they're talking about and who they're talking about. But I go back to, they're not doing it by accident, right? These TV people aren't stupid. They're doing it because they are getting whatever reaction they can make money on, they're getting it.
I think some of them, I'm not going to say they're stupid, but I think some of them just do dumb things because sometimes it may be a bit, but I think sometimes you start convincing yourself of this stuff that I'm thinking on a higher plane when I'm just talking about physical talent.
Yeah.
And I'm awed by a basketball player's handle. Do you see his bag of tricks? Nobody had his bag of tricks. And you end up again forgetting, well, is this like once upon a time NBA at halftime they had like a one-on-one show. Like a one-on-one game that they taped in the off season. This isn't a one-on-one. These are basketball players who play presumably for teams. You're interested in something else. That's fine, but that's not very bright. It's not, to me, smart analysis at all, and it's going down a rabbit hole that kind of explains, frankly, why some players weren't as successful as their, speaking of God-given talent, should have been, because they are concentrating on, over and over again, the wrong things. Bradshaw and Brian KFAN text line is open at 646-86. That's 646-86. I got a couple Vikings Nuggets when we come back as we continue to get ever closer to what is Bears week, but ever closer to the Bears opener. I've got some A-section material to get to. I've got a very historic day, this day in Minnesota sports history that Dan Minnesota dug deep and dived deep on. We'll get to that before we're done. And we'll get to at least one A-section story that we probably should have gotten to sooner that I don't think we can embargo any longer than we already have. The inbox in an hour, email Guardsy, JG at KFAN.
Looking for excitement? Chumba Casino is here. Play anytime, play anywhere. Play on the train, play at the store, play at home, play when you're bored. Play today for your chance to win and get daily bonuses when you log in. So what are you waiting for? Don't delay. Chumba Casino is free to play.
Experience social gameplay like never before. Go to Chumba Casino right now to play hundreds of games, including online slots, Slingo, and more. Live the Chumba life at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Talk about stepping up. Bang!
Bang! It's time to level up your game. Introducing the all-new ESPN app. All of ESPN, all in one place. Your home for the most live sports and the best championship moments.
The electricity is palpable.
Step up your game with no annual contract required. It's the ultimate fan experience. Level up for more on the ESPN app or at stream.espn.com. Sign up now.
This is Julian Edelman from Games with Names. Anyone else feeling hungry? Because Applebee's just cooked up the ultimate option play with their new Ultimate Trio deal. You can choose from 3 of their delicious appetizers and pair them up with 3 sauces for just $14.99. Craft your perfect trio from over 80,000 different combinations in this flavor-packed plate built for one. Or to share, if you're generous. You could stick with the classic pairings like boneless wings and buffalo sauce, mozzarella sticks and marinara, or brew pub pretzels with white cheddar beer cheese. Or you could spice things up and try some unexpected combinations like dipping chicken wonton tacos in their honey Dijon mustard. The choice is yours. The Ultimate Trio is the perfect way to hit all your cravings in one plate and turn appetizers into an entree. It's time to head to your neighborhood Applebee's or order online today. That's eating good in the neighborhood.
Life moves fast. A new home, a new baby, a new chapter. But without an estate plan, your future's still vulnerable. With Trust and Will, you can name guardians, start a trust, create healthcare directives, and more. All online in about an hour. It's attorney-designed, state-specific, and built to protect what you love. Plans start at just $199, and every plan is safe, secure, and kept completely private. From families with young kids to adults caring for aging parents, Trust and Will makes it simple to take control, without a law office, paperwork stress, or court delays. Go to trustandwill.com and use code RADIO to save 20%. Start your plan today. Don't wait for life to force your hand. Estate planning is one of the smartest, most loving things you can do. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Trust and Will.
Get ready to laugh. Gabriel Iglesias is bringing his comedy tour to Treasure Island Resort and Casino. It's live this weekend, tomorrow and Saturday, the 6th and 7th. Don't miss your chance to see one of the world's funniest comedians, and tickets are available at ticasino.com.
Inbox in an hour. Robert Smith will join in 2 hours on a 3-hour edition of today's program, Bumper to Bumper. Did you see the Seifert tweet from 2:48 p.m.?
I didn't.
Did not see Harrison Smith or Christian Darrisaw at Vikings practice today. Darrisaw practiced yesterday, but said his short-term trajectory will be up to the medical staff and coach Kevin O'Connell. Game 1 is in 4 days. I mean, I get it. You know, Harrison Smith's a wily veteran. He's seen it all. But at some point, aren't we having to live with the likelihood that Harrison Smith ain't going to be available on Monday night, or at least not in his usual position? I mean, we can't. I don't care who you are. I don't care how long you've been around. At the beginning of a season where you've missed a decent amount of time right before, I just don't. And I think he hasn't practiced since the 13th of August.
It's mid-August for sure.
So I think we got to start saying, well, it's unlikely we're going to see him. And on Darrisaw, I don't know what to make of that. I mean, I think we all assumed he was going to be starting for the opener, and maybe he still will, but I also think there's a legitimate question there about whether we can just assume that immediately he's going to be plugged in, even though everybody has said to us, his rehab's been better than ever, it's been fast, every indication is good. If neither one of them is there Thursday, even before a Monday night game, I know we're playing a day later than usual. I think we got to start, opening our eyes and saying that at least for this week, they ain't going to be full. If they play at all, they are not going to be full-time players. Don't you think?
Agree. It would seem unlikely.
And those are key positions. It's part of it. I mean, it's your anchor left tackle. I don't think he's got to worry about Richard Dent. I don't think he's still playing for the Bears. But
Khalil Mack,
that's exactly right. But because I think I've been like with most people along with, okay, yeah, they're in and out, but they'll be there for the opener. I don't know if we can. I no longer am counting on that. Let's put it that way. I think that realistically, that's how we have to look at it.
I think a lot of us were going with that because that was kind of the tone from the team on all of it. But at some point, the first game comes up, and it's here, and we're still discussing it. So that's not great. I think Darrisaw a better chance than I would Smith at this point. Or is that backwards? Is Smith more of a plug-and-play? Because we still don't even really know what Smith is dealing with, right?
No, we don't.
So that's the other thing.
Exactly.
And nobody says, even Pelissero this morning on the Power Trip says there's no indication that it's a huge problem moving forward.
Right.
It's still a problem at this moment.
Well, it's now, I think, reached a point where it's part of the story, attempting to sort of preview the game and figure out where this thing is going. And by the way, they're not the only team that faces those issues. I think the Bears, I think Jalen Johnson, there's still a question of his availability for how much of the Monday night opener too. So I'm not saying this is just the Vikings, but I think we have to factor those in. And those are two pretty important players. Probably, as you say, the left tackle, even more important. Harrison Smith, the quarterback. The defense, I don't think, revolves around him as much as it once did.
Right.
I think they like some of their other safety options as well. Allegedly, we feel comfortable playing. I don't know if we feel as comfortable playing three safeties if he's not one of them. But all that needs to, I think, be factored in. Tom from Columbia Heights writes that Mike and Mike ran into Dan Patrick off-site and off-camera. Golick was happy to engage, but Greeny was gutless, didn't want to be seen with a competitor, and avoided interacting. This is according to Patrick. That's the type of influence the mothership has. Is that a recent revelation or an old one?
I don't know. I haven't heard it recently.
And I don't know. I have no idea if that's accurate. And I let's be honest, I may not like that, but that's really not part of my complaint. To me, that's not essential to the content that you're putting out there. I don't, that's not anything. For me, that's not added ammunition is what I'm trying to say. Now, his point is, it's Patrick saying that's the influence of the mothership. Okay. But that has, to me, nothing to do with content.
And I don't even know if I buy that.
I don't know if I do either. And maybe there was more to that story. I'm not exactly sure. We've quoted him before, Dov Kleiman. Is he real, or is that like a synthesis of several people?
The second, the latter.
Okay.
It's like a guy it's an account that follows NFL stuff.
And is he considered kind of a satirist, or is he considered a guy or a group of people who try to come at this seriously? Do we know?
I think they more or less just aggregate stuff and throw stuff out that's already been out there. I don't think they, unless I'm missing it, I don't think they have a slant or a bent.
So because there's a link to one of the tweets recently, and I don't even see. He'll have to send it to me because I can't. It's hard to link when you send to the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line, so I'm not exactly sure what the alleged confirmation or complaint might be. Dan couldn't agree more. This is Mike in New Richmond. These big mouths can't evaluate quarterbacks any better than NFL scouts. You're absolutely right when you say it's about having the complete package. Everyone rips on JJ because he never had to do much in college, therefore he's less than, whereas I can name dozens of quarterbacks who threw it all over the field in college, but were complete busts as NFL players. Give me a QB who can process quickly, understand defenses, make the right play, and be the leader every day, or someone who can throw it a country mile, but can't get off his first read or regresses in big moments. All that's true. By the way, we don't know what J-Mac, our guy, can do, right? We have no idea yet. We don't know. We do know what he did in college.
And the joint practice against New England day too.
So we don't have any idea yet. For me to put a headline up that reads, "Is J.J. McCarthy a generational talent?" doesn't do anything for me, because whatever answer you give is pretty stupid and pretty premature. Now, you can have opinions about his entire body of work and whether you view him as a guy, as, like I said, as a generational talent. But then we're back to how you define the word talent. I just don't think it's very meaningful. There's a million legitimate things to say or to examine about, Arch Manning already, or J. McCarthy. But that question is not any of them. But in that line of work, it's always about the bigness of all-time bust, generational. Those words apparently are arousing.
They're triggers
to people, and I guess that's where this thing goes. I don't have any idea. Get to a couple more texts, then we'll get back on schedule. Dan, you're coming at it from a perspective of journalism, which is nearly extinct on social media. There is no accountability. There is very little credibility. As you said, it's about the clicks and interaction. And no matter how outrageous the claim is, it will be forgotten within a week. Well, that's true. It's almost like preseason football. It won't be. Well, occasionally they'll go back if they can get another bit out of it. And to say, well, you're the guy who said Arch Manning wasn't a generational talent. And did you see what he did in week 2? That's all it will take is 1 week of Arch Manning looking generational to say, well, that other week before, it doesn't mean anything any longer. That's what's so sad about it. Overcoming physical limitations makes their achievements even more impressive. Mark Price was a better pro than John Wall.
Mark Price. There's a name
from the past.
NBA on NBC.
This might hit it. And it sounds limiting, and it may sound too old school to some in the audience. But 651 guy writes, I only tune into ESPN for PTI at this point. But I think another part of the ridiculous questions and roundtable discussion is to create a 30-second viral clip, as this younger generation just does not have the attention span to sit through an actual topical debate. Maybe that's true. I don't know. That's to your point about the viral part of this whole thing. Obviously, PTI involves two, usually, individuals who do have journalistic chops and grew up in newspapers. But I don't think, for me, I don't think they sound particularly old. And it's not that they're not opinionated. It just feels like, because I don't want to make it sound like you have to be boring. I don't think they're boring at all. I think their stuff is pretty comfortable, but I think they have some sense of perspective. Wilbon had a rant the other day that was in part, even if he didn't intend it to be, maybe he did intend it to be, aimed at his own network, having to do with the opening college football weekend, about everything. This has got to be the greatest, and this is the biggest, and it's all part of the same issue.
Yep.
I guess. Generational this, biggest that. And that even he is being worn down about some of that. This one, here it is. You guys do it all the time. Same with you and your potato chips. It's from 651 guy.
The baked Ruffles that you can't get, or the tasteless box of mashed potatoes? I'm confused.
I think he means
the baked Ruffles.
The baked Ruffles. But I'm not sure where I'm not sure I get the analogy myself. Because it's not even, you got to come up with, I'm very capable, I'm sure, of doing some of the things that they do on ESPN. I'm just not sure that's the best example that you'd be able to cite. I don't get it. Dan, these ESPN talking points are comparable to a Ponzi scheme. They're running out of topics to talk about, so they have to keep coming up with anything to fill time. That's Mark from Lakeville. And I'll say again, I think there's more than enough, even though it's hard every day, there's more than enough to come up with in terms of what's worth getting worked up over and what isn't. But maybe his point is, you get worked up over the fact that baked Ruffles don't exist anymore. That's sort of true. I've been concerned about it, and you'll notice it hasn't come back.
No.
It's now, no one even talks about it. I've given up talking about it because I've given up the ghost. They're not coming back.
And when you lose hope, that's the saddest time, right?
Sort of like being a Minnesota Twins fan.
Very much.
Very similar. Back in just a minute.
Looking for excitement? Chumba Casino is here. Play anytime, play anywhere. Play on the train, play at the store, play at home, play when you're bored. Play today for your chance to win and get daily bonuses when you log in. So what are you waiting for? Don't delay. Chumba Casino is free to play.
Experience social gameplay like never before. Go to Chumba Casino right now to play hundreds of games, including online slots, Slingo, and more. Live the Chumba life at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Talk about stepping up. Bang! Bang!
It's time to level up your game. Introducing the all-new ESPN app. All of ESPN, all in one place. Your home for the most live sports and the best championship moments.
The electricity is palpable.
Step up your game with no annual contract required. It's the ultimate fan experience. Level up for more on the ESPN app or at stream.espn.com. Sign up now.
This is Julian Edelman from Games with Names. Anyone else feeling hungry? Because Applebee's just cooked up the ultimate option play with their new Ultimate Trio deal. You can choose from 3 of their delicious appetizers and pair them up with 3 sauces for just $14.99. Craft your perfect trio from over 80,000 different combinations in this flavor-packed plate built for one. Or to share if you're generous. You could stick with the classic pairings like boneless wings and buffalo sauce, mozzarella sticks and marinara, or brew pub pretzels with white cheddar beer cheese. Or you could spice things up and try some unexpected combinations like dipping chicken wonton tacos in their honey Dijon mustard. The choice is yours. The Ultimate Trio is the perfect way to hit all your cravings in one plate and turn appetizers into an entree. It's time to head to your neighborhood Applebee's or order online today. That's eating good in the neighborhood.
Life moves fast. A new home, a new baby, a new chapter. But without an estate plan, your future's still vulnerable. With Trust and Will, you can name guardians, start a trust, create healthcare directives, and more. All online in about an hour. It's attorney-designed, state-specific, and built to protect what you love. Plans start at just $199, and every plan is safe, secure, and kept completely private. From families with young kids to adults caring for aging parents, Trust and Will makes it simple to take control, without a law office, paperwork stress, or court delays. Go to trustandwill.com and use code RADIO to save 20%. Start your plan today. Don't wait for life to force your hand. Estate planning is one of the smartest, most loving things you can do. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Trust and Will.
Here in the fan.
If you missed us at the State Fair, you can shop all of our 2025 fair designs in the KFAN Pro Shop today and be on the lookout for brand new variations as well. It's all at KFAN.com/store.
This is also for a lot of, I say kids, but could be college age, could be JUCO, could be high school, could be elementary school, etc. Kind of a big back-to-school week. And we've tried to include some back-to-school sorts of stories throughout this week since we returned from the Great Minnesota Get-Together. Here's another one that caught my attention. There's a new survey out of nearly 1,000 K-12 public teachers that was published last week by the Fordham Institute. One of your favorite institutes, as I recall.
Not one of my colleges, though. Not yet.
It's not. And the results are not all that surprising, but for me, rather deflating and in some cases infuriating as well. 52% of K-12 public teachers in that Fordham Institute survey, confirmed that their school or district has adopted at least one, quote, equitable grading policy, such as no zeros for missed assignments, no penalties in late work, or unlimited retakes on tests. Some 58% of teachers in the schools report that the use of at least one equitable policy, as I said. And the good news is that teachers despise the changes. 81% said a no zeros policy is, quote, harmful to academic engagement, including 80% of, quote, teachers of color, end quote, the Fordham report suggests. Quotations from surveyed teachers. This is via the Wall Street Journal. Being given a 50% for doing nothing seems to enable laziness. Ridiculous. Insulting to the students who work. Most teachers can't stand the Gifty 50. Have you ever heard about the Gifty 50?
I don't think I have.
The Gifty 50, that's what they call it. Majority of teachers, 56%, say a policy of no late penalties is harmful. 23% liked it. What about letting students retake tests? Teachers divided. 41% supporting, 37% against. My own view on that, and I think we've even talked about it before, I've moderated my viciousness on it, my impatience, to say, I think, to me, the debate should not be over whether a teacher ever grants a retake. I think the debate should be, well, you shouldn't be able to have endless retakes. That, to me, is the difference. I don't think necessarily a retake is the end of the world. But if you say, well, I'm going to give you 5 more retakes, at some point it all becomes kind of silly, I think.
Retakes were a thing when I was going through school.
Were they? Yeah,
one. There was no such thing as unlimited, and not every teacher did it.
Not every teacher did it, exactly. 71% agreed that grading policy should set high expectations for anyone. Only 29% approved of reforms to be fairer. to disadvantaged students. Here's the key quote. This is from an unnamed teacher who participated in the survey. Equity grading is not leveling the playing field. It is simply lowering standards so that school districts look like they are meeting kids where they are, when in fact, they are hiding their failures behind equitable policies. End quote. That's it. You can do it. Just don't lie to yourselves and think that you are making significant progress when all you're doing is saying, we're just going to lower the standard for everybody, and so we're not going to look as bad as we did before. And in the end, I'm not sure how that helps the students that you think you are attempting to help. Another teacher says A grades are passed out like Halloween candy. There was another story, I think, in the Atlantic just within the last week, Atlantic.com, at the college level. I don't remember what school it was, and the average GPA was now something like 3.6. And
pretty good.
The moral of the story was all that has done in a perverse way is created greater grade complexes amongst students who now feel like, more than ever that, well, I've got to get up there. If I don't get up there, what am I if I can't get to that particular place? But I digress. A separate Fordham report last year argued that equitable grading makes it hard for parents to know whether their children are struggling or might need help. If college admissions officers can't rely on high school GPAs, they turn to more subjective measures such as extracurriculars, and that's less equitable for talented kids who can't spend a fortune on travel, sports. The truth of student learning deficiencies is evident from declining scores on standardized tests, including the ACT exam. Now, some of this, one could argue, goes back to the COVID lockdowns and difficulty when kids missed a lot of time not being in school, right? But I found this survey interesting, that teachers who are in the middle of it, at least according to this survey, are going, we'll do, I guess, what we have to do, but we don't really think we don't think anybody's winning, or we're making any real inroads in if there are gaps in our education, and that if this is about being equitable, then you got to go back and define what you mean by equitable. Because equitable, I thought, was supposed to be giving kids who've had a harder time for various reasons to succeed. And this doesn't indicate that these teachers are saying that many of these changes are giving those kids a better chance to succeed at all. It's just that the overall standard is being lowered across the board. So that's where we are right now. By the way, there's a lot of talk about a number of schools going the next step on cell phones. And they're saying now we're putting them up at the front of the room. We got like a phone caddy, and you got to leave them there for the entire period. I think in theory it makes a lot of sense. A lot of teachers are already lauding it. But one of the X factors is you got to have phone caddies that actually can contain the phones. My sources say at one unnamed school, there's been some difficulty where the phones are falling to the ground because the caddies aren't properly anchored in a way that the phones don't drop out. So you gotta get your ducks in a row if you're gonna take this step, which I applaud, I endorse 100%. You don't want the kid's phone to be smashed in the interim.
That wouldn't be good.
No,
that would be expensive. You need a smaller phone. The phone's awful small.
Maybe that's what it is.
That's what it is.
That could be some of it. All right, top of the hour break. That's our back to school item for today. I've got an A section one to get to. Maybe next, because we have a lot of football talk coming up in the 5 o'clock hour between Top 5 at 5 and Robert Smith at 5:30. In addition, we've got the inbox in a half hour, and we're still looking for submissions. And it's a good week, I would think, to contribute. Just hit email Guardsy, JG, that's JG, at KFAN.com.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Rob Gronkowski from Dudes on Dudes. Applebee's just cooked up the ultimate option play with their new Ultimate Trio deal. You can choose from 3 of their delicious appetizers and pair them up with 3 sauces for just $14.99. Craft your perfect trio from over 80,000 different combinations in this flavor-packed plate built for one, or to share if you're generous. You can stick with the classic pairings like boneless wings and buffalo sauce, or you can spice things up and try some unexpected pairings like dipping chicken wonton tacos in our honey Dijon mustard. It's time to head to your neighborhood Applebee's or order online today. Now that's eating good in the neighborhood.
This is Julian Edelman from Games with Names. Football is back. That means it's tailgate time. And this season, the only meat I'm going to grill is Dietz and Watson. I'm loving the Black Angus Dietz dogs. They're flavor-packed, and you can tell they are made with the highest quality ingredients. Sundays just got a whole lot better. Visit DietzandWatson.com/therightway to learn more about the Dietz difference.
Whether you're watching college football or flipping between games on Sunday, sound quality matters. A Sonos home theater setup, especially the Arc Ultra soundbar, delivers immersive surround sound and deep bass that makes every play, every hit, and every cheer feel larger than life. And when you're on the go, the Sonos Ace headphones are a game changer. Lightweight, crystal clear, and with up to 30 hours of battery life, they're built for everything, from podcasts to post-game analysis. Visit Sonos.com to explore the full lineup.